let's say I want to copy this artboard to a new artboard with its own layers. This piece has two layers, as you can see, a background and elements. And to copy it to a new artboard, I'm going to do 3 steps. First, I'm going to create new layers in which I want the second artboard to be. Then we're going to actually duplicate the artboard, and then we will place the new artboard elements into their layers using a useful feature. So first, let's create new layers for the second artboard. For simplicity, I'm just going to call them elements 2, if I can type that still, and background 2. Let's make sure they're in the correct order. So background below the elements. Okay, so these are my new layers. Then we're going to copy the artboard. I'm going to do that by first zooming out a bit with the zoom tool, and while holding space I can move it about a bit. Then let's copy it using the artboard tool. That is Shift O. You can also find it in the toolbar here. And then while holding Alt or Option on Mac, I'm going to click and drag to duplicate the layer, including objects. If you get a white artboard without objects, it means that you had this feature disabled. Make sure it is enabled. So now the problem we're solving is that all these elements are still in the same layers. We want them to be separate. So to do that, we're going to first select all the objects on the second artboard. For that, I press V to get the selection tool. You can do it in 2 ways. You can either just click and drag to get all of it in your selection, or you can click the artboard you want and then press Alt Control A or Option Command A to do a select all on the currently selected artboard. Now the trick we're going to use is that to the right you now see indicators, which are selection indicators. If I open up this elements layer, you see that I have multiple objects selected, which are on the second artboard, and multiple objects I do not have selected because they are on the first artboard. Now the cool trick is that if we close the layer, we can actually move this selection by clicking and dragging the indicator and then just moving it to the desired layer. Having done this, you will see that these are actually separate layers, which is super convenient and also the thing we wanted to achieve in the first place. Now, one thing to note, when you do a duplication of an artboard, only objects will be copied that are unlocked. So if, for example, this star would be locked, it would not come across in the duplication. If you happen to have multiple items locked, you can simply unlock them in one go by clicking and holding and then deselecting all the locks. Okay, I hope this was useful. I used features that I learned from Martin on his course Yes, I'm a Designer on udemy.com. This is not sponsored, it's just a very accessible and in-depth tutorial, and I think a good product deserves a shout out. So that's one way of copying an artboard. If you found this video helpful, please help others find it by dropping a like and maybe a comment. Don't bother to subscribe unless you like to hear me play music, because that's what my channel is actually about. This tutorial I basically made because I wanted to know how this was done and I couldn't find the tutorial, so there you go, I made one myself. In general, my channel will be about piano music. Alright, have a good one, bye bye.